Hey folks, Real Honesty with Jarwithlin. I'm Jarwithlin. So my review of New Japan Pro Wrestling's New Beginning in Sapporo Day 2. And boy, that US title match ended with some really good buzz, didn't it? But before we get to that, Tanahashi was unable to compete uh, after his match with Suzuki. And I'm going to say right now, that is the match of this 2 day show, in my personal opinion. Tanahashi versus Suzuki. I will actually say that the U.S. title match was number 2, and I'll get to that in a bit. Um, you had another Kitamura match where he faced Juice Robinson. This was better than the one that Kitamura had with Elgin, mainly because Elgin wasn't in the damn match. Juice Robinson's very good in the ring. Obviously, as I've said before, I'm really happy that he was able to leave WWE and get to Japan, where he has grown so much as a performer, been able to show the great talent that he possesses, great charisma and everything. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for this guy. Guy's got a huge future. Clearly did when he was in WWE, but my God, his time in Japan is just doing such good wonders for him. Can't wait to see what else happens. Juice Robinson obviously gets to win. Certainly not a bad match. I'm not the biggest fan of Kitamura. I'm just not. The guy is like the Japanese Goldberg as far as I'm concerned. Now, that's not to say that the guy doesn't have a bit of a future. I kind of don't see the appeal, but who knows? Maybe they seem to be telling a story where he's going to rise up through the ranks eventually and maybe get better. And if he can do that, if he can improve, great. But Juice Robinson won here, certainly no complaints. Miho, my goodness, she is lovely. And check out her Twitter handle if you or check out her Twitter feed if you haven't. She is certainly lovely. Yeah, so it's Miho Abe, and I hope I pronounced that right. Again, sorry, I'm going based on what the English announcer said, and also just by how I pronounce foreign names. So sometimes I get them wrong. As much as I love Japanese wrestling, I can screw up some of the names. Ain't the smartest guy in the world. Just saying that right there. Just a wrestling fan. Not saying wrestling fans ain't smart, but I screw up just like everybody else does. Anyway, so we had a lot of really clustered tag team matches. You had Suzuki Gun, you had Tachi, Taka, El Desperado, and Kanemura versus Liger, Tiger Mask, Shota, and Taguchi. And Miho got involved a little bit here in the beginning. It was enjoyable. It was a very good pace. It was a very good pace. It was cut. It was a lot of a lot of these matches were pretty much all over the place. Everybody separated, went all their crazy ways and whatever. There's a lot of going for the mask, especially Tiger Mask. Even at one point removing it and removing Tiger Mask's mask, so Tiger unmasked, and put it on Miho, which led to some fanfic, I'm sure, being created that I'm just not going to talk about, but still enjoyable enough for what it was. Liger's team won the previous night, so naturally, of course, Taka's team would win here, and it was fine. It was a well done tag match for what it was. And then, of course, another tag match you had, and I wrote these down, and I have horrible handwriting, so forgive me. Takahashi and Hikuleo, a 6'9" guy that Haku has a lot of kids, and I certainly am not going to say anything bad about his kids because I don't want Haku, Meng, whatever you want to call him, to hurt me. Versus Tomohiro Ishii and Yano. Ishii and Yano, of course, got the win here. Certainly not bad. Hikuleo is tall and hard hits by Ishii, as I think almost anybody with the last name of Ishii would hit pretty damn hard in Japan. I mean, I think that's kind of bred in their DNA. Good short tag match, not perfect, but did its job, especially since tall Hikuleo has not maybe been around as much and featured on much TV. This guy, or it's like many big broadcast shows. So this was a nice little exposure for him. Certainly not a bad match. Not great, but whatever. And then Tonga and Friends. Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, Chase Owens, and Bad Luck Fale versus, and okay, let me see, check my notes here. Tomoyaki, Nakanashi, Nakanashi, Tenzin, and Makabe. Maccabee, I think actually it might be how it's pronounced. It was good enough. Action was all over the place. I mean, there's really when you get Tamatonga involved, Tamatonga and his friends involved, you're going to have that happen. I see certainly why people praise Tamatonga, and a lot of whether they're Tongans, Samoans, whatever, they're great athletes, and I mean it's just like natural to them if they want to get into this business. So certainly not great. I mean, they had some good tag spots, especially Tonga and his buddies, because they're really good at getting heat. I will certainly give them that much credit. It was a bit short, but it served its purpose. And then Hanare. Yeah, Hinare and Elgin versus Suzuki and Iizuka. Elgin just can't stand the guy. I got a creepy vibe from the guy years ago, but just now with all this stuff that's come out about him, especially all of it being pretty much being confirmed, guy's pretty damn creepy. Does that take away from his ability in the ring? I mean, it kind of dents it. Because the guy is pretty much a creep and has been blackballed from a lot of wrestling promotions in the U.S. I wonder how long it's going to take for this stuff to reach Japan and maybe for him not to be booked there. Who knows? But anyway, Suzuki, of course, just, absolutely the murder grandpa. Shout out to New Patriots 77. Suzuki is the murder grandpa, and we must all appreciate our murder grandpa overlord. Suzuki, a lot of fun. I mean, he made Hinare tap out, and that was cool. That was cool. It's like that's what should have happened. It appears we might get Suzuki versus Makabe, and I'm all for that again. Hope I pronounced that last name right. good stuff. Certainly led to a possible good new feud coming up. I think Suzuki's going to hold this title. I don't know if he's going to hold it for long, but I think he's going to hold it for a number of months, probably until their June or July shows. Whenever their U.S. shows happen, I think you could see somebody else take the title from him, which I'm all for. Who knows? It could be Tanahashi, depending on how injured he is. If he's actually injured for a long period, or if he's just injured for a bit, and they're just giving him a storyline, just working this into a storyline and give him some time off, because Tanahashi has certainly done everything he can for the New Japan Wrestling brand. It has certainly worked in his favor. It's worked in the favor of the fans, and it's worked in the favor of the company. It has not worked in the favor of his body, and maybe he just needs his time off. Him and Suzuki, though, have a ready-made feud and ready-made rematch should they come back to that, and should he not be out way too long. Even if they had to stretch this to Wrestle Kingdom next year, they actually would have something ready-made. But I think Suzuki holds the Intercontinental title, IWGP Intercontinental title, till at least their June or July shows, and I think that's a nice little run for him. I wouldn't book the right person to beat him, because how are you gonna beat a guy that just doesn't give a shit and will destroy you? Will destroy himself to destroy you. That's a dangerous man. Anyway. And then we move on to a really talent-packed match. It's similar to the one that was from day one. Marty Scurll, Hangman Page and Cody versus Ibushi, Kushida, and David Finlay. And this was enjoyable. It was very good mat wrestling, and very mixed with some high spots, because when you have Ibushi, you are going to get high spots. And David Finlay is certainly talented, and so is Kushida. And I'm not saying nobody in this match was incapable of doing high spots. But obviously the babyface team did more high spots and were capable of it. Ibushi is Inhuman. I think that's pretty obvious. He's not a member, of course, of that show, The Inhumans. That was a terrible show. But Ibushi is insane. Just the sequence of moves that he can pull off. You got the tension between him. You get the built feud with him and Cody that's still going on. Even though Ibushi won at Wrestle Kingdom 12, there's still more to it. Of course, the New Japan Dash stuff where Omega saved Ibushi from getting hit in the head with a chair and stuff like that, which would lead to events later in this show. Cody is a great heel, And honest to God, his stock has risen so much since leaving WWE. WWE really dropped the fucking ball letting him go. I'm glad Cody left because he has excelled and he is doing great things in Ring of Honor and in New Japan. So, wherever he goes, he is doing very, very well. As are a lot of guys that got out from other WWE umbrella and even some women. So, honestly, and this is coming from me as a wrestling fan since 1985, and I mean, this is just a little bit of a tangent. For those that feel WWE is the end-all be-all, Cody and others are proving you can make a living if you're willing to work hard and get into Japan. That's one thing where you can make some pretty good money. I mean, I don't have a clue what people earn. It's really none of my business, honest to God. I just enjoy the wrestling. I've enjoyed the Japanese wrestling scene. As I said before in my previous 2 New Japan reviews, I've enjoyed it since the late 80s. Kept up on it as best I can and watch it when I can. I'm trying to do more live tweeting because I really enjoy that and to get these reviews out to you guys. So, honest to God, I just really, I just want to take a moment, really appreciate you guys for watching and for the New Japan fans for being really, really gracious and talking to me if I happen to screw up any of these names or if I'm in the dark on any of these storylines. But the storylines are simple yet detailed and, they're layered, like in this next tag match here. And I know it's a bit of a tangent, forgive me, that happens sometimes. But you have Hiromu, Bushi, Evil, Sonata, and Naito, Los Incorrigibles, Digipon. I always screw that up whenever I pronounce that. Which makes sense considering I took 1 year of Spanish in high school and somehow ended up knowing less coming out of it than I did going into it. I didn't know jack shit when I went into it. But anyway, Los Incorrigibles, they faced off against Okada, Ospreay, Gato, Yoshihashi, and Goto. And of course, you have Goto, who had beaten Suzuki for the never open weight heavyweight championship. I don't know what that one is. That was a really long title, like stipulation. But that was a hair versus hair match thing that happened at Wrestle Kingdom 12, which was I don't know why I'm doing this. It was a lot of fun though. This was a talent-loaded match. Naito and Yoshihashi continued their feud from the previous night, where Naito just kept brushing him off. Of course, Tranquilo and all that. Hyped up a lot of feuds, and I think there's of course, obviously, Okada and Sonata, which I believe is happening February 10th, if I recall them saying correctly. So again, I will try to watch that stuff, but guys, I may not be able to watch every single show. I don't know. I'll see, but I'm really enjoying these, and people are giving me good feedback on these reviews, so I really do appreciate it. It has car crash moments and everything, of course. Incorrigibles win, duh, and that's good. I mean, Okada obviously didn't take the pin, and I mean, he didn't need to take the pin. You have the built-in feuds and, and everything. There's a lot of good stuff, and then everything came to his crashing halt. Or screeching halt, whatever you want to call it. Roppongi 3K versus the Young Bucks. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match. And I just don't like the Young Bucks. I just don't. Now, let me say this much. I said much in my Wrestle Kingdom 12 review, and you can go back and watch that if you want. One of Roppongi, I can't remember if it was Show or Yo, that had the bad back. I think it was Show. It was whatever one had the darker hair that I believe had the back problem. Because they were both selling their back problems. Well, Matt of the Young Bucks suffered a back injury there too, or at least seemingly. And I was like, okay, well maybe he just tweaked it or this kind of stuff. Now he ended up hurting it a little more severe here in this match. And I thought at first he was just selling. And then I saw this massive welt on his back. I mean, not that you guys could see where I'm pointing necessarily, but it was a little frightening to see that because as much as I don't like the Young Bucks, I don't want them to be unaided. I don't care for them. They're video game wrestlers. To me, they do a whole lot of things that really have no meaning. And it's like the super kick, it's tiresome. But that being said, I am still a wrestling fan at heart. I still understand these are human beings. So whether I like them or not, I don't want them to be unable to earn money to provide for their families, for their children. I don't know if both of them have children or not. That's really none of my business. The whole point is there's a small amount of time, whether it's 20 years or whatever or less, that wrestlers can really earn big money and everything before they start to get broke down. So hopefully the Young Bucks are able to do that. I know they're doing well with their merch despite the whole cease and desist thing, but the whole point of this is I may not care for them. I don't, honestly. But I hope Matt's okay. He seemed to be really, really hurt. So I hope that it's just maybe a strain and a little bit of time off, like a week or two off, and he can be okay. But he wasn't even doing that well in the final sequence of the end of the Omega Jay White match. Yeah, he just looked like he was really, really beat up. I mean, Repugnant 3K got the win and won the titles back that they had just lost at Wrestle Kingdom 12. So the Young Bucks basically just got to be 7-time champs and defended them, I think, maybe once or twice, and then lost them here. Cool, whatever. Show and Yo got the win, won the tag titles back. Again, I don't care for the Young Bucks, but again, they're human beings. I hope Matt's back is going to be okay. Bottom line. Still, I would say still hashtag fuck the Young Bucks, but you know what? I'm going to put that to the side. Because normally I would say that even regardless. And I said that kind of sliding. I hope Matt's okay. I hope his back's going to be okay. And I hope that the Young Bucks can earn a ton of money for years to come to take care of their families and stuff like that. Whether I like them or not, they're popular. People like them. I don't get it. But it works for some fans. And that's fine. So hopefully Matt's back is going to be okay. Now we get to Kenny Omega versus the Switchblade, Jay White, who had a decent match with Tanahashi at Wrestle Kingdom 12. It actually probably would have been ranked a little bit better had there not been a few match of year candidates, like the whole Jericho Omega thing that was really, really stellar. Had that not happened, I mean, it still probably wouldn't have been ranked too high, but it was the fact that the match never really seemed to get out of second gear. This one, however, had the whole thing like New Japan Dash, where Omega had offered Jay White a chance to be part of the Bullet Club, and Jay White, with the Blade Runner on Omega, and the whole, turn on him or whatever, and Omega wanted to get revenge on him. Had hard hits, did have a big fight feel, and of course Jay White was trying to ground Omega early. Omega seemed vicious and was just beating him and beating him down and beating him down and beating him down, and it's like he kept hitting the V trigger, he kept hitting big clotheslines, he kept hitting. I mean, he kept trying to go for the one wing angel, it didn't work, but he kept going for big moves, and it just either he didn't cover Jay White, or whenever he did, Jay White would somehow kick out. And the biggest shock was like way later, Jay White suddenly is able to counter a few things. He had hit one Blade Runner, that didn't work. It didn't end up leading to a 3. But he hit the second Blade Runner and 1, 2, 3. And it seemed confusing at first because it's like, wait, was Omega supposed to kick out? Was he confused? Was he knocked out? No, they wanted to just play it up that way. I guess Omega wanted to give Jay White the title. And whoever the booker was decided to do that. But Omega's the first ever IWGP US champion. Obviously, they see some big things in Jay White. I wondered, this is maybe a bit too much too soon, but it does tell for a really good story. Because they've been having this tension between Omega and Cody for a number of weeks. Months, in fact, but especially since New Japan Dash, so for like the last 3 weeks. Cody even saying to Ibushi, Kenny doesn't love you like I love you. But when Jay White actually did, and he won, and it's like, okay, Hangman Page is out there, and it looks like he's going to attack Jay White, but Omega shoves him out of the way, takes the title, and, shoves it at Jay White, saying, okay, this is yours, you earned it. Okay, cool. Again, I'm not the biggest Kenny Omega fan. I want to just say that right here. As far as his facial expressions, I just think it's too goofy. His effort in the ring, though, and how much he can go and go for long periods and matches and cut really good paces and find second, third, fourth wins, good. And he is a really good worker. I will say that much. He's a really good worker. Then you got Marty out there. You got Hangman Page. You got the Young Bucks. Kenny ends up accidentally shoving. You got Cody out there. Cody talking about like this isn't according to the plan. This kind of stuff. Okay. Everybody leaves after Kenny had accidentally shoved Matt. Okay. And then they had done this. They had. Oh, it's like, oh God, what's going to happen? Because the Young Bucks and Kenny were pretty much inseparable, and I'm sure backstage they are. This is just playing up the story. Marty and Hangman are like, nope, you work this out among yourself. Cody and Kenny seem to come to an agreement. Okay. Cody even holds, and by the way, I'm sorry for doing this. I got some bad allergies. Winters are a bitch here in Washington. Cody holds the ropes open for Kenny. And you knew it was coming. I mean, anybody that in the crowd that was shocked, anybody that was shocked on Twitter, I mean, come on, you could see it. And I'm not saying you guys are dumb if you didn't see it. I'm just saying it was pretty obvious if you've been watching wrestling for a while. And it was set up perfectly. Cody holds ropes. Kenny goes a step through, gets the ropes. He gets Kenny, hits the crossroads, and a vicious crossroads. Like Kenny spiked on his goddamn head. And Cody just went apeshit and was like, okay, I grabbed a chair. Hangman Page is holding Kenny, and Marty's there and everything. And Ibushi comes down and saves Kenny Omega. And Ibushi and Omega have had a friendship that has gone back for years. I know that much. And they've talked about, New Japan has promoted it and talked about, and people talk about it in video packages, and they both seem like they get along pretty well. And okay, that's great. It's building this whole thing, especially for New Japan Dash, just the past few weeks. Omega saved Ibushi. But then Omega's like, well, I didn't need your help. I didn't want your help. And this kind of stuff. Wouldn't shake Ibushi's hand. And all this tension and everything. Oh God, is Ibushi going to snap? Is Ibushi going to snap? Nope. Ibushi just hugs Omega. And the ribbons, go. Well, not the ribbons, but, the pyro stuff goes off and everything. Whatever they use in Japan. Sorry, I'm not too familiar with it. Yeah, the streamers, that kind of stuff. They use them in Ring of Honor also when New Japan talents come over. And that was really, really cool. I mean, the few people that I follow that were watching this show were really, really happy. And it was really, really cool. It was a really, really cool moment, Ibushi and Omega. This can hopefully lead to them maybe either being a super team that takes down the Bullet Club. Seems like the Bullet Club's kind of dissolving. Will the Young Bucks go with Omega? Will the Young Bucks stay with Cody? That's a really good question. I mean, it's like this is a decently, pretty well told storyline. I mean, with Ibushi and Omega and Cody, once you get past the other things, everything will probably separate. But I'm not the biggest Bullet Club fan. In all honesty, I feel it's just a ripoff of the NWO, and not a very good ripoff. And it's not lacking the talent that has ever been in the Bullet Club. I'm just saying the concept of it. But they sell a whole lot of merch, and people seem to love them. It's great. But this is a really, really good ending to the show. So I'll say B+. I'll say B+, because again, Omega Jay White wasn't as good as Tanahashi Suzuki from the previous night. This show overall, though, was a bit better. So even though the main event maybe wasn't as strong work rate wise, or match wise, I mean psychology wise and stuff like that. Even though Jay White winning was certainly shocking, I still say Suzuki and Tanahashi had the better match. And it's not knocking Omega or Jay White, but both days of the New Beginning were great. And so to anybody that does watch this review and watches any of my other New Japan reviews, I've only got a couple others up, Day 1 and Wrestle Kingdom 12. if you guys are fans of New Japan and of WWE, check out my other reviews. Let me know what you think. If you guys have reviews that you are that you have done and you're New Japan wrestling fans, let me know. Just don't put your video in the description or anything, but or like in your comment. But let me know. Hey, could you check out my video? And I'll click on your profile and give it a look, and give it a like, or at least give it a comment. Let's help out. Let's help out. Each other as far as wrestling fans and everything. Not just if you're New Japan fans, WWE, whatever you enjoy. That's my little PSA here. Public service announcement at the end. Let's just have some fun. There's a lot of wrestling out there that people can enjoy, and that's one of the things I enjoy. Is for the most part, the talents in New Japan, even though they have personalities, it's wrestling. They focus more on the goddamn ring. And that is so goddamn refreshing. That's part of the reason why I enjoyed older WCWs, because they focused more on the goddamn ring. So, that's part of the reason why I've tried to keep up on New Japan. I'll do my best to keep up on New Japan. And I really appreciate all the fans for being nice to me. So anyway, let's get on with it. And thank you guys for watching this. And I really do appreciate anyway for watching my reviews. So again, if you guys got reviews you want me to check out, you let me know in the comments. Anyway, like, share, subscribe. Twitter link is in the description. It's been Real Honesty with John Ritlin. I'm John Ritlin, and I will see you soon.